The first topic tonight is policing. You both talk a lot on the campaign trail about refunding the NYPD instead of defunding, refunding, increasing their budget. So let's show you where things stand right now. Last fiscal year, the city funding for the NYPD was $10.5 billion. This fiscal year, it's $10.2 billion. So, Mr. Sliwa, how much more money does the police need, and how would you allocate those funds? You have 60 seconds.
Well, first of all, Pix 11, thank you. I think I can thank you for Fernando and myself and all Republicans for the kind of coverage you've given this campaign that a lot of other media outlets have, and for having an in-person debate. But I have a plan. I'm talking about not just refunding $1 billion, but hiring 3,000 additional cops through a dedicated property tax. Madison Square Garden pays no property taxes. Neither does Columbia or NYU or Rockefeller Institute or Cornell Medical. Why don't they pay property tax? Well, now they will when I'm mayor. And that'll be dedicated to the training and hiring of 3,000 additional cops. That'll give us 38,000. And I will tell them, go out, do your job as you've been trained to do, be proactive. But if you cross that line and you violate people's civil rights, I'll be your worst nightmare. And qualified immunity has been stripped from the cops. That means they have to go out and get police malpractice insurance. The Governor Cuomo, is responsible for the killing of thousands of people in long-term health care units, and he has qualified immunity. No, we're restoring the qualified immunity to the police. They rightfully deserve it.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Mr. Mateo, same question to you. You will also have 60 seconds. How much more money does the NYPD need, and how would you allocate those funds? We're looking for specifics.
I don't think anyone knows right now how much money specifically does the NYPD need to take our city back. But whatever it is that they need, they will have when I am mayor. New York City and New Yorkers deserve better. We have handcuffed our police officers. We have mistreated them. We have humiliated them. We have torn their guts apart. Our city is in disarray. I haven't seen crime this high since the 70s or the 80s. We need to restore law and order. We need to bring back law and order. We need to bring back safe streets. When I walk the streets with my kids and my family, and you do with yours, we want to know that we're going to come back home in one piece. We don't want to hear that there was a drive-by shooting and one of your kids were killed, which is what's happening in New York. NYPD will have my full support. NYPD will have whatever budget it's needed to have 2 police officers in every subway station throughout the city, creating every subway station a safe haven for all New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. I have a few quick questions for both of you. These are yes or no questions. That's the only response I'm looking for, but you will have an opportunity to explain a little bit later. So first, Mr. Sliwa, would you bring back stop and frisk?
To a degree, yes.
Okay. And Mr. Mateo, would you bring back stop and frisk?
I will bring back whatever is necessary, yes.
Okay. We all know the NYPD's anti-crime unit was recently disbanded. Mr. Sliwa, would you bring the anti-crime unit back?
Day one, yes.
And Mr. Mateo?
Absolutely. The day I'm sworn in.
Okay. Now that we have you both on the record, I'll give you each 30 seconds to explain these positions, and I'll start with you, Mr. Sliwa.
Well, with stop and frisk at the end of the Bloomberg administration, they were actually issuing quotas to cops. Imagine, at the end of your shift, you had to actually stop and frisk people. And to his credit, Pat Lynch of the PBA said, Mayor Bloomberg, you're turning the community against us. Stop and frisk is constitutional. And in fact, it existed long before Rudy Giuliani brought Republican leadership and law and order as mayor. People don't realize that. You use it when you have probable cause. But you don't use it under a quota system, and you don't use it because you think or maybe possibly could be. You have to have probable cause, and that's how stop and frisk would be used when I'm mayor in the city of New York.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. And Mr. Mateo, you have 30 seconds as well to explain your position.
With crime being so high and people feeling so unsafe, I think that what New Yorkers are looking for today is for peace. New Yorkers are looking for safe streets. And whatever it takes, I will do. New Yorkers deserve better. Democrats have destroyed our city. Every time there's a Democrat in office, crime goes through the roof. And guess what? New Yorkers are fed up with it. They say that a Republican can't win. They are wrong. Democrats are tired of Democratic policies.
All right, Henry has the next question.
Thank you, Ayanna, and good evening, gentlemen. We are just a little more than a year past the police killing of George Floyd, when many, many thousands took to the streets here in the city, around the country, around the world, really calling for change. But each of you has expressed some concern with protest activity. So let me start with you, Mr. Mateo. In your New York, 60 seconds to explain, is there room for protesting?
Absolutely, there's room for protest. It's part of our Constitution. It's part of our right to go out there and express ourselves. What is not constitutional is for you to go out there and loot, rob, assault, and murder people because you're angry at whatever the situation may be. Peaceful protests, we will always support because people have that right. I have that right, but I don't have the right to take someone else's living. I don't have the right to take anyone else's life. I don't have the right to assault and beat up and abuse others. It's not right. I will not allow lawlessness in our city. I will allow peaceful protests, but not lawlessness. There's no privilege for anyone that goes out in the street and tears our city apart and burns our businesses down, because the only people that they're hurting are their own people. The only people that they're hurting are our people, our city, and I will not allow that.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. Mr. Sliwa, same question, 60 seconds. Is there room for protesting if you're mayor?
Of course, and there was a route years ago. But we saw in the aftermath of Eric Garner's death, all of a sudden demonstrators just took to the streets. No permit, no rules, no regulations. And Bill de Blasio, this mayor, just allowed this lawlessness, this anarchy in the streets. Used to be, if you had the permit for your protest, which was very easy to get, you had to apply your own marshals. They were trained to make sure that nobody got out of control. Only when things completely got out of control, the police got involved. So sure, people are permitted to protest, but they're going to have a permit. And secondarily, I was out in the streets June 1st, June 2nd, when there was total anarchy, when the shooters and looters were out. When this mayor told the cops to stand back, not get involved, I and the Guardian Angels took on the looters and shooters. I had my jaw broken. Other Guardian Angels were seriously injured. But you don't sacrifice property. You don't give up product, because when you do, history tells us they come after the people. And haven't the criminals been coming after the people ever since? That's why you got a permit. It's a lawful protest, or you get no protest rights at all.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. To put a button on this section, because to be clear, we are talking about Black Lives Matter protesting, and that movement is what happened last summer. So quickly, 10 seconds, Mr. Mateo, first, do you believe Black Lives Matter?
Every life matters. Of course, Black lives matters. Blue lives matter. Hispanic lives matter. White lives matter.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. Mr. Sliwa, do Black Lives Matter?
Of course, as all people's lives matter. But you didn't mention Antifa, right? The gasoline in the fire who came in and they antagonized the crowd, including members of Black Lives Matter, to be lawless, to loot, to shoot. Antifa will not be able to operate in New York City as when I'm mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Dan?
Henry, thank you. Gentlemen, let's focus on jobs right now, because you'll be taking over the city at a pivotal time of recovery here. Right now, take a look. 10.8% of New Yorkers are currently unemployed. Mr. Sliwa, you have a small business loan plan. And Mr. Mateo, you have a plan to help 14 to 18-year-olds. But those are small outlines here. So how do you plan to help the rest of the city's economy? Mr. Sliwa, I'm going to begin with you, and you have 60 seconds here.
Well, number one, you have to actually get people back to their job locations. You look at Times Square. Let's use that as a microcosm. That's 1/10 of the landmass. 32 million square feet of commercial space, most of it empty. 2,400 businesses, 180,000 employees. Most of them are not there because we haven't opened up the city. We haven't encouraged people to say, you're vaccinated, you're okay, it's time to come back and work. And now we have the problem that a lot of people are used to working at home and they're used to e-commerce, getting their products. So we've got to stimulate people to say, we've got to incentivize them, pay for their transportation to the job, work with those who are owners and operators of these businesses, and encourage the growth of the mom and pop shops, which are closed now, with my right to business plan. That gives a man or a woman, maybe who believes in capitalism, because yes, AOC all out crazy. It's not socialism, it's capitalism. And we want to stimulate the the investment into people who want to start up their own businesses in these empty spaces now.
Mr. Sliwa, thank you. Mr. Mateo, same question to you. How do you plan to help the city's economy here? And be specific. You have 60 seconds.
I have been doing it since I'm 17 years old when I opened up my own business. I've employed thousands of people in New York City. I know who our worst enemy is, and it usually is the government. It's city agencies that handcuff small businesses from being able to grow and build because all they do is find them. All they do is look for issues on how they can shut our businesses down. I've been a victim of that. I know what it's all about. I would give 10% payroll tax breaks to any business that comes to New York City. I will encourage and I will invite businesses from around the world to come and start up in New York because New York City will be their partner in their success. 10% payroll tax is what was being given to Amazon. Amazon was being given $3 billion to bring 25,000 jobs. I would bring 50,000 new businesses with 500,000 jobs for $3 billion in New York City. Small businesses don't need that much money to get started, but they do need a partner, and the partner should be the government, not their enemy.
Let me just say that none of that's going to happen, Fernando, unless we have safe streets, safe subways, safe parks, and safe schools. It all starts with law and order, supporting the police. So we can have these great ideas that we're going to encourage businesses to come back from Florida or wherever else they've gone. And this mayor has said, make sure the door doesn't hit you behind. Well, let me tell you something. You
Mr.
establish
Sliwa,
law and order, and then you can begin the process of encouraging businesses
Mr.
to come
Sliwa,
back
thank you.
and some businesses to stay.
Just a reminder, if you would like a rebuttal, just please request the 30-second rebuttal.